welcome back to my channel. So today we will be talking about KOICA interview, because I believe by now everybody must have already submitted their applications. I know actually the deadline is the 20th, today, Sunday 20th, but there is no way you will be submitting your documents on Sunday. So I'm hoping that everybody who is hoping to study in South Korea must have already submitted their application as of last Friday. So I have received questions from people who wanted me to make video on interview. After submitting your documents, you would obviously do an interview with KOICA. So today I have two KOICA students. I think they are in their second semester in the KOICA program in Gyeongbuk National University, located in Daegu, South Korea. So I have Mr. Francis from Ghana, and then I equally have Mr. Peter, who is from Uganda. Hello, guys.
Hi.
Thank you
Hi.
very much. Thank you very much.
안녕하세요.
Hi, 안녕하세요. 잘 지내세요?
안녕하십니까?
They are lost. They don't know much about Korean language. It's okay though, because their program is in English, so they don't really have to study Korean language. So Mr. Francis, last time you did an interview with me, we went through the KOICA application checklist, and today you're here for an interview on how to prepare for KOICA interview. Thank you very much for joining me once more. So please, could you guys please introduce yourselves?
Yeah, so thank you very much, Cliff. My name is Francis Yaogangpi from Ghana, studying agriculture production and food security and agriculture development at Gyeongbuk National University. Colorful Daegu.
Yeah. Beautiful Daegu.
Colorful Daegu. And I have with me my friend Peter.
Hello, Clifford. My name is Peter Odonkara. I'm pursuing a master's in agricultural production at Gyeongbuk National University. I also got admitted together in the same law with Francis. And my major is crop production.
Okay.
It's nice for this program, and I'm ready to share my experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys, for joining me.
And Peter is from Uganda, and I'm from Ghana.
Okay. Yes, Peter from Uganda and Francis from Ghana. Okay, so could you please tell me what usually happens after submitting your document?
So thank you once again. Greetings to your listeners, your viewers across the globe and across the beneficiaries who are expectant of KOICA 2022 scholarship. And as we talked there last time, we looked at the application, and as you rightly said, by now everybody might have submitted his or her applications for consideration. We should be expecting from a week from now, interview session. And what should we be expecting? I think the first and the foremost thing is when they send you the email or corresponding with regards to scheduling a time for the interview. One, you should get yourself ready. By now, everybody knows what interview sessions be, because I'm sure because of the coronavirus, they may not be face-to-face, and it might be on Skype or on a Zoom meeting. So make sure you're
on phone.
On phone, yeah, whichever way, because maybe there might be some challenges with the other two
internet
connection. So be sure that you have a good internet connectivity. Be sure of your location and the background you are speaking from. And you might be an agriculturist like myself, but that doesn't guarantee that you should be in the bush, you should be in the farm for attending to the interview. You should just be in a serene and a good environment as well. And also get yourself well ready to respond to questions. I think the major and the compounding whole thing is they want to see how sharp you are.
Exactly.
How sharp you are. You shouldn't be a dull boy. Or dull guy or dull girl. Just be sharp. So I think I'll end it there. As we progress, we'll tackle other things. And those few basic things you should be able to put it in the right perspective as you wait for the interview session. Thank you.
Okay, so normally, as far as I know, I don't think there is that much difference as far as interviews are concerned, be it you coming to Korea as a KOICA student or coming to Korea as a KGS scholar, like the Korean government scholarship, or any other type of scholarship. I don't think the interview questions are that very different. So, for example, I remember when I was coming to Korea a few years behind, I had this question during my interview when I was coming to do my master's program. So the first question that they asked me was, why do you want to apply for this degree and why that particular degree? I don't know. What questions did you guys receive during your interview?
Okay, thank you, Cliff. When I was invited for the interview, and I happened to be given the first question, why did I choose the course and the university?
Exactly.
So that sent me straight to my motivation statement that I wrote before during the submission of the application.
Your documents, there's like,
yeah, basically you need to talk about the course which is matching your work. If the course is designed to match the work that you are doing as an agricultural person. And you're choosing the university because of the ranking on how best that university is performing globally. So I believe that one satisfied them because I said the course is well designed and it fits my career plan to advance in agricultural field, working with farmers to improve their livelihood. And the university is very good because it's ranked as the only university in Korea that is giving the best in agricultural field.
Which means you are already an agriculturalist and then you're applying to go and further your studies in agriculture in one of the best universities that teaches agriculture as well in South Korea. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, let me quickly come in. Yeah, it might not necessarily be limited to agriculture. You can be working in the health sector. You might be working in the education sector. You might be working with telecommunication. And for instance, Handong Global, you might be asked, why do you want to study convergence, IT convergence, information technology convergence?
Yeah, that's another KOICA program.
Another KOICA program.
Yes, yes.
You might be wanted to study in Yonsei University in finance management or finance in health education, or maybe economics, or maybe gender in one of the universities in Seoul. So you should be able to tell them your background, and mostly the first interview question they normally throw is, who are you, or tell us who you are. I normally say that question when I sit on any board to interview people. I ask you, tell us who you are. That is a very good question for you to market yourself within 1 minute. You should be able to market yourself, who you are, what you do, your age, and what has been your achievement in your career. And that should tell them that you are actually a brilliant person or you are a dull person. So having listened to that, having listened to how you're able to market yourself, that moves to the next question: why do you choose the school? And by now, before you have selected or filled the application, you might have read about the university you have chosen, the course it is, and how related the course to your profession or your job schedule that you are currently, as Peter rightly said. So don't assume that it is only limited to agriculture. We just say that other KOICA programs in Handong Global, in Yonsei University, in other universities like which are studying things like gender and international development and the likes. So thank you very much for that.
Okay. So I have another question here. I don't know if it applies to you. So the question was, how do you think the master's program will help in the future, and how will it help you achieve your future goals? Do you usually receive that type of questions as well? That applied to me, but it didn't. I wasn't coming for KOICA.
Basically, me, I was not presented with that question, but if you look at that question, it's already something I mentioned in my motivation statement.
Okay.
And me personally, I would answer the question in this way that studying this course will prepare me to address future challenges, which is a major concern in Africa. For example, we have the problem of climate change. If it is technology, there is already a big gap in technology development in Africa for those who are coming for technology-related courses.
Mm-hmm.
If it is gender and economics and so on, so you have a wide field of areas that needs to be improved in Africa. And studying this course will put you in a better shape to address that. But more importantly, also, I think improving on bilateral relationship will be one area, because no country can really develop on their own. So you feel like if you come here and study, you form a good partnership for future engagements, and you will be a very good link if you really succeed.
Yeah, just to
And again,
just to chip in, I think like people who are coming from developing countries, I think Korea could be a very good example for many people coming from a developing country to learn the lessons of Korea, because Korea kind of developed in a very rapid period, within a very short period of less than 50 years. After coming from the Korean War, and then the threats that they were having, like from North Korea with all the nuclear stuff, Korea kind of developed its economy rapidly. I think Korea could be a very good example for Africans and people from other developing countries to like come and study, learn the Korean example, and then maybe go back and apply it in their country. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So just to hastily add to it, you should be able to know the challenges that you want to go back and tackle, or the challenges prevailing in your field of endeavor, or your field of career, or area that you are currently working with. If it's in what's the name, in tax policy, or maybe anything related to IT, as Peter rightly said, based on that, you written your
motivation
study plan or motivation plan. So you look at maybe you want to study in aviation, you want to study in University of Seoul, you want to study in Korea University of Global Education Leadership. You should be able to tell them why you want to and what you are going to carry home at the end of the season or the end of the period. And based on that, you should be able to convince the panel that that is the reason why, or that is the take home you are expecting at the end of the period. Thank you.
Okay. So this other question, when you finish this program, what kind of job will you want to do? So I think this question applies to people who are not KOICA. Yeah, I think it applies to people who are not KOICA. For example, if you're applying for the other degrees, it's okay. Okay, for example, you want to come and do an undergraduate, or maybe you want to come and further at the master's or PhD. This question might be okay, but I don't think it really it applies to KOICA. What do you think?
But for me, if I sit on the panel and I realize that maybe the number of people applying for the scholarship is high, meanwhile, we need a limited number, I might have questions that's not necessarily difficult, but tricky questions to put your mind to test.
Okay.
So just likewise, this question is going to test some pulses to check if the person ready to come back and continue working where he is currently.
Yes.
Or he is coming back after acquiring the degree, he will come back and move out from where he's currently working into another place that's applicable to KOICA. So that alone is also, you should be able to tell the people that, okay, based on that, it is your career progression. If you come back, this is what you're expected to do to move from where you are, or to take your current position or your job schedule to the next stage within the same enterprise. Not necessarily that you want to come back and maybe if I'm working here, I want to leave the sector. And so that even misses the whole track, that you want to come back and improve upon the sector where you are coming from, or the sector that is actually giving you birth to go and study on the scholarship. So for me, that is what I would say. So they should be careful how they respond to. If such questions appear, how you deal with it. Thank you.
Okay. So I actually have this question. It says, do you have any work experience?
It's actually a tricky question, mostly when it comes to KOICA. Because in Africa, you might see somebody being whisked through the window who is not a professional, who has not worked for the period that's supposed to meet the requirements to apply for the KOICA scholarship. So it's a trick or it's a bait. So you should be able to be careful, or most especially if you know rightly that you have not met that number of working experience to meet the criteria, you should be able to be careful how you respond to it. So that is what I would say. But it's actually a tricky question, on a trap.
Okay,
to
so
see.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Peter.
That's an interesting question and a very tricky one as well. So I think if they ask you like that, you should be able to be honest and actually share your number of experiences in terms of where you are employed. You say you've been working in that field for this number of years and you've gained so much experience, and you really want to improve on that experience to further your you need to upgrade yourself and also improve on the people that you're working for. Normally, Cliff, the KOICA and the university, they are very keen on knowing that a student who they should take should be able to go back and transform the community that it comes from. And normally they ask, like for our seniors who have gone back, there is a program that they invite them online and they share what they are doing. So that gives the university a very good impression that at least the knowledge they have given you is helping somewhere, in addition to you being the link person. So I think it's really important for you to talk about your experience and how you are going to continue further that experience for further improvement.
And let me quickly add to it that don't forget that your documents that you presented have some of those information. So there should be correlation, there should be continuation from where you left it or what you put on the paper to what you are saying, so that there shouldn't be any disparity with your utterances to what you have put on the paper. Because all those, your number of years of experience or work and whatever you want to do, all those things should be able to link to one another. Not there's disparity here. You have put on your application you have worked for 6 years, and in your interview you said you've worked for 3 years. They should be able to. It's rightly in front of them, so they will be looking on it and even be asking you the question to see whether you have actually written your statement, your motivation, or you have actually filled the document yourself. So we should be very careful here. Thank you.
So basically, what you're saying is that KOICA, to apply for KOICA, you should be working already for your home government. So if they're asking you if you've been employed, it's really to test if you are really working for your government. So in case you've lied or maybe you've done something that is fishy, you have to be careful when responding to this question, especially either way you should be working already, and then you should be able to share your experience about your job, and then even after graduating from your program, they equally have a follow-up, which means sometimes there is like a group or something, there's a follow-up system where they'll try to follow up their students even after they must have returned back home, and then see their progression as to what they have been doing back home. So that's what that's what Peter was trying to say. So even after graduation from your program and then you go back home, it doesn't end there.
Yes.
You still have a link with your university that you went and studied at, and then you still have some link with KOICA, because they're trying to see if you are helping your community after acquiring all of the education, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Very well.
Okay, so this question, it says, I think we already talked about it. How will you describe your personality or your character?
Yeah, I think we've dealt with that. Just in trying to introduce yourself, you should be able to market yourself. Yeah.
Okay, then the next one. What do you know about South Korean culture? Does it apply to KOICA?
Yeah, not at times. It's mine. The fact that maybe I have not been asked or Peter might not have been asked doesn't mean that it cannot come up in your interview. It is likely to come up. And when it comes up, you should be able to tell, what do you do? What do you know about South Korea? Maybe you should, by now, you have read about South Korea, how fast they have developed from 1960s up to 2000 in the 21st 20th century, how they've been able to machinate their IT, their systems, and are fastly developing even till now. And that is one thing that might have interest you. Maybe you watch Korean drama, you know some few Korean personalities, so you should be able to say, and maybe even at the end of the day, you can, if you know one Korean language or one Korean expression that you can, that is also heartwarming to say. At least it gives them, most especially if you have been interviewed at the second stage, not from your country, maybe at the second stage from your institution or your school that you have chosen, you can be able to. In my case, let me just quickly share mine. I was able to tell them about the colorful day and the position of Kumpuk National University and how it is being prided. So by the time I finished, and I even told them that I hope to meet them in colorful day, how all those things they don't know. This guy might have read about the school, know what it's about, and where he's actually aspiring to go. So that's about Korean culture, and you should be able to impress them, most especially if you are answering or you are responding to interview to your school that you've selected. Thank you. If Peter has something, I think he can quickly add it.
Please, that question I was asked that question, and this is how I answered it. I first talked about Korean food, even if I've never tasted it because I watched something. I said yes, I like Korean food, and then I mentioned some foods that I even if I didn't know them. I said I like kimchi so much, and I also like gimbap. Is then they asked me where did you get it from? I said no, I looked at the pictures online and they really look nice, and that one sent them smiles. Then I said yeah, food like bulgogi is also I see it is like ours the way we cook it here. So I think I will be able to enjoy. Then also I talked about the temperature. I mean the weather, the climate of Korea. I said I also studied Korean climate, and not so different from some of the places in my country because we also have very cold temperatures, especially the areas where we grow up. And then you see they were seeing some bit of similarity and picking the interest that I think this person is able to be in Korea. And of course, that's really very important for them to be impressed. Like you really like to come and study here.
Yeah. I think though they might not ask some people, but this question I think is very important. You cannot be considering to go and study in a country without even trying to know about that country. Yeah.
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense for you to want to go and study in Korea and then you've not tried to carry out any research about Korean culture, the way they do things, the food. Yeah.
Yes.
I think before you go to any country, you should try to understand the country, know the culture, know the way the people behave, stuff like that.
Exactly.
Before making the decision even to apply, you don't just apply because you want to apply, but at least you should have the country, some interest in the country before you apply. Okay, so I don't know if can you maybe personally share your interview experience? Maybe there are some questions that you remember that you were asked that you might think could be of help to the future applicants. Do you remember?
Thank you once again. Thank you once again. I think that we've so far exhausted most of the questions because the entire day is not going to be dedicated to you alone. The numbers
how many minutes
might be
is
huge.
the interview?
Mostly 5 minutes is
Enough.
5 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes. For me, the one that from my country, I spent 5 minutes, and the one from Kumpuk, I spent 12 minutes.
Oh, so are you trying to say that there are 2 interviews?
Sure. There are 2 interviews. That's what I'm trying to. That's what it implies. The first interview is from KOICA office in your country.
Okay. Your country, your home country.
Your home country.
So who usually does the interview in your home country? Is it like a Korean working in the KOICA office?
Korean will be there, and maybe coordinator for the program who might be your
local coordinator from your country.
Yeah, the program coordinator for your country will also be there. The Korean citizen might be the deputy or the manager at the KOICA office. So at least 2 or 3 people will be on the panel, and they will introduce themselves as such. And that first interview is going to screen the numbers, because, for instance, maybe the number of people going to a program like gender and development in Seoul University might be maybe 20 or 30. Meanwhile, they are looking for 2 or 3 people. So they need to screen down and take the best out of the masses and forward to, or they take the 5 and send to your school for the school to also do their due diligence and select the best 3 or the best 2. So that is the first one in your country. Then the second one, after the document is submitted or you are selected from the first stage, you will be notified as such, and that goes to the document are forwarded to your institution in Korea for the next interview, which will also be scheduled and you will be notified if you have sailed through the first stage. So as I rightly said, for me, my first one was 5 minutes, and that with Kumpuk National University was 12 minutes, although they say to be between 10 to 15 minutes. So I had 12 minutes, and that was okay. So all that we've talked about, I think have been straddled into one from the first stage and the second stage. Those are familiar questions that will be asked irrespective of the stage that you find yourself. Thank you. If Peter have something, I think he can quickly add to it.
Yes, Cliff, I think we exhausted, but there are key things that a person who's going for an interview should put in mind, which are more or less obvious, but most people forget. Number 1, try as much as possible to be smart, dress well. The first impression is created by how you appear. Don't just wake up from, come from maybe somewhere, hey, oh, I'm rushing for the interview, then you appear sharp. That doesn't make sense.
Don't just come up from a farm. Don't just come up from a farm without dressing well because you're applying for a farm.
Yes, because you applied for agricultural course. Then that one will not. What irrespective of the course, dress smartly, maintain time. They like you to be on time. Always report very early and be ready, because you go early and they call you. That is a good impression to them. And then also when you are doing interview, you try to be audible, speak up, eloquently, and they see that this person is confident of the things he or she is talking about. And of course, know your documents very well, how you assemble them and master what is in those documents. If someone would help you to draft the motivation and so on, please read it through before you go for the interviews and do a wider research. Normally, when I appeared there, I saw like it was just an interaction because the confidence on my side was a little bit high, and I think that was helped a bit. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So, I don't know if there's anything to add.
No, I don't think so. We have just wrapped it all. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the good job, and then we'll still keep in touch and keep updating as we go along. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Okay, boys. Thank you very much for doing this interview.
Thank you for supporting the applicants, and we are here. We are very ready for the guides. We are going to be the next guides.
Okay. Thank you very much for the interview, guys. Okay, 감사합니다. 안녕. Okay, guys. Thank you very much, and
yeah, sure.
Have a great evening.
Same.
Okay. Okay, guys. So that's the end of the interview that I did with the two KOICA students who live in Daegu, South Korea. They're studying agriculture in South Korea. Please, this is going to be the end of the interview. And remember, if you've not yet subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.